Deep beneath the Earth's surface, where the air is thick with dust and the only light comes from flickering torches, ancient miners chip away at solid rock with nothing but primitive tools. Their hands are calloused, their backs bent, yet they accomplish feats that leave modern engineers scratching their heads. How did they carve tunnels through mountains without dynamite? How did they locate precious metals hidden miles underground without satellites or scanners? These are not just questions, they are mysteries that have defied explanation for centuries. Today, we're diving into 50 of the most baffling secrets of ancient mining techniques, secrets that challenge everything we think we know about the past. From self-healing Roman concrete to mercury mines hidden deep in Mayan jungles, from gold chains so massive they defy logic to underground labyrinths that may still hold untold treasures. These aren't just stories, these are real, unsolved puzzles that archaeologists and scientists still struggle to crack. By the end of this journey, you'll see ancient civilizations in a whole new light, not as primitive societies, but as master engineers, alchemists, and innovators whose secrets have been lost to time. So stay with us, because what you're about to discover might just rewrite history. Ready to uncover the truth? Let's begin. Now, let's step into the shadowy depths of the Mayas' lost mercury mines, a discovery so startling it rewrote what we thought possible for ancient civilizations. Deep in the jungles of Central America, archaeologists stumbled upon something they never expected: vast underground tunnels filled with pools of liquid mercury. This wasn't just a rare find, it was a paradox. Mercury is one of the most toxic substances on Earth, yet the Maya not only mined it but used it in ways that still baffle scientists today. Imagine the scene: workers chiseling away at cinnabar ore, the bright red mineral that contains mercury, unaware of the deadly vapor rising around them. Somehow, they perfected a method to extract liquid mercury without the protective gear we rely on today. Even more astonishing, they used this poisonous metal in their most sacred spaces, pouring it into ceremonial pools beneath temples, lining tombs with it, even crafting shimmering decorations. Why? The answer remains unclear, but one theory suggests they believed mercury held supernatural power, a bridge between the physical and spiritual worlds. But here's the real mystery: modern attempts to replicate their extraction methods have failed. The Mayas' tunnels are so precisely engineered that they avoided catastrophic collapses, something even today's technology struggles with in such unstable environments. And the mercury itself, it's still there, pooling in the darkness as if guarding its secrets. What did the Maya know that we don't? How did they handle this lethal substance without mass casualties? As we peel back the layers of this enigma, one thing becomes clear: the Maya weren't just miners, they were alchemists turning Earth into something almost magical, and leaving behind a puzzle that science is still scrambling to solve. Now, shifting our gaze from the toxic brilliance of Maya mercury to the dazzling gold of the Andes, we uncover another marvel that defies explanation: the Inca's colossal golden chains. Picture this: gleaming links, each heavier than a car, forged into massive ceremonial chains that adorned their most sacred temples. These weren't just ornaments, they were feats of engineering that modern metallurgists still can't fully replicate. How did the Inca, without the wheel or iron tools, manipulate gold on such a staggering scale? The answer lies in their unparalleled mastery of metallurgy. They hammered raw gold into sheets, then painstakingly folded and welded them into hollow links, each one a testament to precision. But here's the twist: some chains had links weighing over 2 tons. Moving these behemoths required more than muscle, it demanded ingenuity. Some theories suggest they used log rollers and ramps, while others propose they assembled the chains in place high atop their stone temples. Yet no one has found definitive proof. Even more puzzling, the gold itself. The Inca sourced it from rivers and mines across their empire, but their refining techniques remain a mystery. Unlike other cultures, they rarely used fire to purify gold, instead relying on mechanical methods like grinding and washing. This gave their gold a unique purity and their chains an otherworldly glow. But how did they transport these monstrous creations across mountain ranges without leaving traces of their methods? The silence of the archaeological record speaks volumes. As we stand before the remnants of these golden giants, one question lingers. Were the Incas' chains merely symbols of power, or did they hold a deeper, lost significance? The answers, like the chains themselves, remain suspended in time, waiting to be unlocked. Now, let's journey from the Andes to the heart of the Roman Empire, where another ancient marvel defies modern understanding: their self-healing concrete. Picture this: mining tunnels carved deep into the earth, standing strong for over 2,000 years, while today's structures crumble in mere decades. The secret: a revolutionary material that seems almost alive. Roman concrete wasn't just durable, it repaired itself. Modern scientists have discovered tiny cracks in these ancient structures that mysteriously filled in over time. The key ingredient: volcanic ash mixed with lime and seawater, creating a chemical reaction that forms crystals to seal fractures. But here's the catch: despite knowing the recipe, we still can't perfectly replicate it. The Romans' precise mix and curing process remain elusive, like a forgotten alchemy. What's even more astonishing is how they applied this technology underground. In mines like those at Los Medulas in Spain, their concrete-lined tunnels resisted water damage and seismic shifts, feats modern engineering struggles to match. Some theories suggest the Romans understood geothermal energy, using heat and mineral-rich waters to strengthen their material over time, yet no surviving texts reveal their full methods. Why does this ancient concrete outlast our own? The answer might lie in its imperfections. Modern concrete prioritizes speed and uniformity, while Roman concrete embraced natural variability, allowing it to adapt and heal. As we study these time-defying structures, one thing becomes clear: the Romans didn't just build for their era, they built for eternity. And their silent, self-repairing walls challenge us to rethink what's possible. Now, let's turn our attention from the self-healing wonders of Rome to a mystery wrapped in metal and riddles: the copper scroll of Qumran. Unlike any other ancient document, this artifact isn't made of fragile parchment but of durable copper, as if its creators wanted its secrets to endure. Discovered near the Dead Sea in the 1950s, this scroll lists 64 hidden treasure locations, with cryptic clues pointing to vast hoards of gold, silver, and precious artifacts. But here's the twist: despite decades of searching, not a single treasure has been recovered. The scroll's instructions are maddeningly vague, referencing landmarks like the Salt Pit or the ruin in the valley, terms that meant something 2,000 years ago but now leave archaeologists scratching their heads. Some believe these treasures were loot from the Second Temple in Jerusalem, hidden during Roman invasions. Others argue the scroll might be a symbolic record, not a literal map. But the most intriguing theory: the clues aren't just about geography, they're coded mining instructions. For example, one passage mentions the shaft and the pool, which could describe an ancient mining technique for accessing underground water to wash ore. Another refers to the mound of the small canal, possibly hinting at a sluicing system used to separate gold from sediment. Modern expeditions have dug up entire hillsides following these clues, only to find empty tunnels or natural rock formations. The scroll's language suggests the treasures weren't just buried, they were deliberately concealed using mining knowledge lost to time. Why has no one cracked the copper scroll's code? Part of the problem is the landscape itself. Earthquakes, erosion, and 2 millennia of human activity have reshaped the terrain, erasing the very landmarks the scroll describes. But the deeper mystery is the scroll's purpose. Was it a practical guide for reclaiming wealth, or a sacred text with layers of hidden meaning? Until someone deciphers its true language, the copper scroll remains one of history's most tantalizing unsolved puzzles. a treasure map without a key. Shifting our focus from cryptic treasure maps to the blazing heart of ancient industry, let's journey to Bronze Age China, where metallurgical mastery defied the limits of technology. 3,000 years ago, Chinese craftsmen were achieving what should have been impossible: blasting furnaces that roared at temperatures over 1,300 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt modern steel. How did they do it without thermometers, without electricity, without any of the tools we take for granted today? The secret lies in their revolutionary furnace designs. Archaeologists have uncovered furnaces lined with heat-resistant clay, stacked with layers of charcoal and ore in precise alternating patterns. But here's the puzzle: ordinary charcoal burns at around 800 degrees Celsius. To hit those extreme temperatures, they needed something more. Some researchers believe they mixed in mineral-rich additives like crushed bones or certain types of earth, creating chemical reactions that supercharge the heat. Others point to remnants of unusual fuel sources, perhaps a now extinct resin, rich wood, or even processed plant oils that burned hotter and longer than anything we've been able to replicate. Then there's the mystery of the bellows. Ancient texts describe dragon skin bellows, giant leather pumps operated by teams of workers. But calculations show even these shouldn't have produced enough airflow to reach such temperatures. Did the Chinese discover a way to pressurize their furnaces, creating a primitive version of forced air technology? Or were their bellows part of a larger, lost system, maybe even linked to water wheels or animal power? The most tantalizing clue comes from the slag, the waste material left behind. Modern metallurgists have found traces of metals in these ancient slag heaps that shouldn't exist at such high purity levels. It's as if the Bronze Age Chinese had a way to see inside their furnaces, adjusting the process in real time. Were they using sound, color, or even taste to monitor the melt? Without written manuals, we're left reverse engineering genius from fragments. What's certain is this: these weren't just furnaces. They were the alchemical hearts of an empire, pumping out bronze for weapons, ritual vessels, and tools that shaped dynasties. And while we've pieced together parts of the puzzle, the full picture of how they harnessed such fire remains one of ancient mining's most scorching secrets. Now, let's travel from the fiery furnaces of ancient China to the sun-baked hills of southern Africa, where the ruins of Great Zimbabwe whisper secrets of a gold empire built without metal tools. This civilization, flourishing between the 11th and 15th centuries, extracted staggering amounts of gold from some of the hardest quartz reefs on Earth, using nothing but stone hammers, wooden wedges, and sheer ingenuity. The mystery begins with the rock itself. Quartz, one of the toughest minerals, typically requires iron tools to crack open. Yet the people of Great Zimbabwe left behind thousands of shallow pits and trenches where they painstakingly fractured the stone with rounded dolerite hammers. Archaeologists have experimented with replicas of these tools, and the results are baffling. It would take days of relentless pounding to extract even a few grams of gold. So how did they sustain an entire economy? The answer may lie in their intimate knowledge of the land. By targeting weathered outcrops where quartz had already begun to crumble, they could access gold veins with less effort, a technique modern prospectors call reading the earth. But the real enigma is how they located these deposits across a territory spanning hundreds of miles. Recent discoveries suggest they used a form of ancient cartography: mysterious stone tablets etched with swirling patterns that some researchers believe are maps. These tablets, found near mining sites, appear to mark water sources, rock formations, and even celestial alignments. One particularly intriguing artifact shows a series of dots connected by lines, eerily resembling modern geological surveys. Were these guides passed down through generations of miners, or perhaps even used in rituals to invoke ancestral knowledge? The scale of their operations is equally astonishing. At the height of their power, Great Zimbabwe's gold-fueled trade network stretching as far as China and the Middle East, yet they left no smelters behind. Instead, evidence points to a decentralized system where raw ore was traded to coastal cities for processing, a logistical feat that required precise coordination without written records. What remains unanswered is how they maintained such consistent quality. The gold artifacts found in distant markets are remarkably pure, suggesting advanced refining techniques. Some theorize they used crushed termite mound clay, rich in natural acids, to purify the metal. Others point to hollowed-out baobab trees where gravity separation might have occurred. Great Zimbabwe's gold mines stand as a testament to human adaptability. Without metal tools, without written language, they turned stone and patience into an empire's currency. And those cryptic stone maps, they hint at a sophistication we're only beginning to decode, one that challenges our assumptions about ancient technology and the untapped knowledge still buried in Africa's soil. Now, let's shift our gaze from the golden hills of Africa to the shifting sands of Egypt, where an even deeper mystery lies buried beneath the pyramids. The ancient Greek historian Herodotus once wrote of a vast underground labyrinth near the Giza Plateau, a sprawling network of tunnels and chambers so immense it supposedly rivaled the pyramids themselves in grandeur. For centuries, scholars dismissed his account as exaggeration until modern technology began to reveal startling clues hidden beneath the earth. Ground-penetrating radar scans in recent years have detected anomalies beneath the Giza Plateau, suggesting hollow spaces and passageways that match Herodotus' descriptions. These hidden chambers, some reaching depths of over 100 feet, appear to align with ancient mining operations. The question is, what were the Egyptians extracting so deep underground? Some researchers believe these tunnels were part of a massive quarry system, used to source the limestone and granite for the pyramids. Others argue the labyrinth served a more sacred purpose, perhaps as a repository for ritual objects or even as a symbolic pathway to the underworld. What makes this discovery so puzzling is the precision of the tunnels. Unlike natural caves, these passages show clear signs of human engineering, with smooth walls and right-angle turns. Even more intriguing, some shafts descend at perfect 30-degree angles, mirroring the slope of the Great Pyramid's interior corridors. Could this underground complex have been an extension of the pyramid's hidden architecture? Recent excavations have uncovered traces of copper tools and fire pits in the deeper chambers, hinting at advanced mining techniques. The Egyptians may have used controlled fires to fracture rock, a method later adopted by the Celts. But why go to such lengths? One theory suggests they were searching for something far more valuable than stone, possibly underground water sources or even rare minerals mentioned in temple texts. The most tantalizing clue comes from a sealed chamber detected beneath the Sphinx's paws. Radar images show what could be a man-made cavity, sparking speculation about hidden records or artifacts. While no official excavation has been permitted, the evidence grows harder to ignore. Herodotus may have been right all along. Beneath the world's most famous monuments, an entire subterranean world waits to be uncovered. As we piece together these fragments of the past, one thing becomes clear. The ancient Egyptians were not just master builders above ground, but beneath it as well. Their labyrinth challenges our understanding of their technology and ambitions, leaving us to wonder what other secrets still lie buried in the dark. Now, let's journey from the sun-baked sands of Egypt to the shadowy depths of Roman mines, where an entirely different kind of mystery unfolds. Hidden beneath the empire's bustling cities lay secret chambers where the Mithraic cults performed their enigmatic rituals. These weren't just places of worship, they were active mines, repurposed into sacred spaces where initiates communed with the god Mithras in near-total darkness. What makes these cults so fascinating is their intimate connection to mining. Unlike other Roman religions, Mithraism thrived underground, often in abandoned or operational mines. The cult's followers, mostly soldiers, merchants, and bureaucrats, gathered in candlelit caverns adorned with vivid frescoes of Mithras slaying a bull, a scene symbolizing renewal and cosmic order. But why choose mines as their temples? Some scholars believe the answer lies in the cult's origins. Mithraism may have emerged among miners in Anatolia, where the god was associated with both light and the earth's hidden riches. The tools found in these sacred mines add another layer of intrigue. Alongside typical picks and hammers, archaeologists have uncovered bizarre implements, bronze rods with serpentine carvings, crescent-shaped blades, and hollowed-out stones that may have been used to mix ritual substances. One theory suggests these were part of an initiation ceremony mimicking the god's journey through the underworld. Initiates might have used the tools to symbolically mine their way to enlightenment, breaking through rock as a metaphor for spiritual transformation. Even more provocative are the traces of psychoactive compounds detected on ancient cups and altars. Residue analyses reveal hints of ergot, a fungus that grows on grain and can induce visions. Combined with the cave's natural acoustics and flickering torchlight, these substances could have created powerful hallucinogenic experiences. Imagine descending into a mine, surrounded by chanting and the scent of burning herbs, only to emerge hours later, allegedly reborn. The Mithraic cults vanished by the 4th century, suppressed by Christianity, but their legacy lingers in the mines they left behind. Their rituals blur the line between practical mining and mystical experience, suggesting that for them, extracting ore wasn't just labor, it was a sacred act. As we uncover more of these underground sanctuaries, we're left to wonder, were they seeking metals or something far more elusive buried deep within the earth and themselves? Shifting our focus to the arid plains of South America, we encounter one of the most ingenious water mining systems ever devised, the Nazca subterranean aqueducts. In a landscape where surface water vanishes almost instantly, this ancient culture engineered a network of spiral shafts called puquios that tapped into hidden groundwater reserves. What's astonishing isn't just their age, over 1,500 years, but the fact that many still function today, defying the harsh desert conditions that would have rendered lesser systems obsolete. The puquios are no simple wells. These carefully constructed spirals descend deep into the earth, connecting to underground channels that funnel water across miles of barren terrain. The design is eerily precise. The corkscrew shape prevents collapse while allowing air circulation to keep the water fresh. But here's the puzzle. How did the Nazca, without compasses or modern surveying tools, map these subterranean rivers with such accuracy? Some researchers propose they used hollowed-out llama bones to listen for water vibrations, while others suggest they observed plant growth patterns or even celestial alignments to pinpoint sources. The debate intensifies when we examine the puquio's distribution. These shafts aren't randomly scattered, they form a deliberate grid, often spaced at exact intervals matching the terrain's natural water tables. This has led to bold theories about lost mapping technology. Could the Nazca have possessed primitive seismographs to detect underground flows, or were their techniques more intuitive, passed down through generations of water diviners? What's undeniable is the puquio's sophistication. Unlike Roman aqueducts that relied on gravity, the Nazca system worked with the land's hidden anatomy, coaxing water upward through capillary action in the porous soil. Even today, farmers in the Nazca Valley rely on these ancient channels, a testament to their creators' foresight. As modern satellites reveal more puquios beneath the desert, we're left to ponder. Did the Nazca simply master their environment, or did they unlock secrets of hydro-engineering that we're only beginning to understand? Next, we'll venture into the smoldering heart of Europe, where Celtic miners harnessed fire itself to fracture unyielding rock, a technique so dangerous it was lost for centuries before its startling rediscovery. Now we turn to the smoldering heart of ancient Europe, where Celtic miners unlocked the very power of fire to conquer unbreakable stone. Picture this: deep in the darkness of a mine shaft, workers stacked piles of wood against solid rock walls and set them ablaze. The flames would burn for hours, superheating the stone until it glowed red hot. Then, just as the rock reached its peak temperature, the miners would douse it with cold water or vinegar, causing the stone to shatter like glass. This was fire setting, a technique so effective it could fracture even the toughest granite with nothing but heat and patience. What makes this method extraordinary isn't just its simplicity, but the precision required to pull it off. Too much heat and the rock would melt unpredictably. Too little and it wouldn't crack at all. The Celts mastered this balance, using controlled burns to carve out tunnels and extract metals like copper and tin with astonishing efficiency. But here's the catch: fire setting was deadly. Miners breathed in toxic fumes from burning ore, and collapses were common as weakened rock gave way. Some tunnels still bear the scorch marks of these ancient infernos, silent witnesses to the risks these workers took. So why did such a brilliant technique vanish for centuries? The answer lies in its brutality. As metal tools improved, miners abandoned fire setting for safer methods, until modern engineers stumbled upon its surprising advantages. Today, researchers have revived the practice in a high-tech form, using electric heaters and liquid nitrogen to replicate the thermal shock principle. It turns out the Celts were onto something. Fire setting leaves ore veins intact, reducing waste compared to blunt force mining. The real mystery: how these ancient people developed such a sophisticated understanding of thermodynamics without modern science. Some believe they adapted techniques from blacksmithing, while others argue it was pure trial and error. Either way, their legacy burns bright, a reminder that sometimes the oldest solutions are the most revolutionary. Next, we'll journey to the sun-scorched valleys of Timna, where 6,000-year-old miners left behind stone tools that defy explanation. Tools without a single scratch, hinting at a lost technology far ahead of its time. Now let's step into the arid landscape of Timna, where an even deeper enigma lies buried beneath the sands. Here, in one of the world's oldest known copper mines, archaeologists uncovered something baffling: stone tools that look perfectly preserved, as if they were never used at all. These artifacts, shaped like hammers and chisels, show no signs of wear, no scratches, no chips. It's as if they were placed there deliberately, untouched by human hands. So what were these pristine tools really? For one theory suggests they weren't tools at all, but ritual objects. Ancient miners might have left them as offerings to appease the gods of the earth, seeking protection or blessing before extracting the precious copper. Another possibility: these stones could have been part of a symbolic first strike ceremony, where leaders ceremonially tapped the rock to inaugurate a new mining site, then left the tools behind as a mark of respect. But there's a wilder idea, one that challenges our understanding of ancient technology. Some researchers propose these unmarked stones were part of a lost technique, perhaps used with a now-forgotten material that didn't leave traces. Imagine a mining method where soft organic bindings, like leather or plant fibers, cushion the blows, preventing tool damage. Or maybe the stones were guides for some kind of lever system, helping miners pry open cracks without direct contact. The most puzzling clue: these untouched tools are often found near deep, narrow shafts, places where extracting copper would have required intense labor. If they weren't used for mining, why cluster them where the work was hardest? The answer might lie in the malachite itself. This vibrant green ore, rich with copper, was prized not just for metal but for its beauty. Could these stones have been part of a process to carefully extract malachite for pigments or ornaments, leaving the tools unscathed? Timna's mystery forces us to rethink how ancient people approached their resources. Were they just miners, or also artisans, ritualists, even engineers? The untouched stones whisper secrets. We're still piecing together proof that some ancient techniques remain just out of reach. Next, we'll venture into the Amazon, where hidden beneath the dense rainforest lies an entire invisible network of mines that challenge everything we know about pre-Columbian technology. Now, let's journey deep into the Amazon, where the rainforest hides one of history's most astonishing mining secrets. Unlike the visible scars left by modern mining, the ancient people here extracted precious metals and minerals so skillfully that their work remained hidden for centuries until technology finally peeled back the green curtain. Recent LiDAR scans, a kind of laser mapping that reveals what's beneath dense foliage, have uncovered vast underground networks stretching for miles beneath the jungle floor. These aren't just random tunnels, they're carefully engineered systems with ventilation shafts, drainage channels, and even storage chambers. The precision is staggering, especially when you consider these mines were dug without metal tools or modern machinery. So how did they do it? Indigenous miners likely used fire-setting techniques, heating rocks with controlled fires before dousing them with water to fracture the stone. But here's the twist: they then restored the surface, replanting vegetation to conceal their work. This wasn't just mining, it was ecological engineering. They took what they needed while leaving the forest virtually untouched, a practice modern industries are only now beginning to emulate. The most baffling part. These mines weren't small-scale operations. LiDAR has revealed some networks large enough to supply entire civilizations, suggesting mining was a highly organized, even sacred endeavor. Some tunnels align with celestial events, hinting at rituals tied to the Earth's cycles. Others connect to distant settlements by hidden pathways, proving these cultures moved resources invisibly, avoiding detection or conflict. What were they mining? Gold, certainly, but also rare pigments like ochre and cinnabar, used for everything from body paint to preserving the dead. The real treasure, though, might be their knowledge. These miners understood the rainforest's fragility and worked with it, not against it, an approach we're still struggling to master today. As we peel back more layers with LiDAR, one thing becomes clear: the Amazon's ancient miners weren't just extractors. They were stealth artists, leaving behind a legacy buried not in pits, but in the very roots of the trees. Next, we'll step into the flickering light of Minoan mines, where crystals turned oil lamps into dazzling subterranean suns. Now, let's step into the shadowy depths of Minoan mines, where ancient engineers turned flickering flames into dazzling underground light shows. Deep beneath the island of Crete, Bronze Age miners faced a challenge we still grapple with today: how to illuminate pitch-black tunnels without modern technology. Their solution: crystal-enhanced oil lamps that transformed dim firelight into something far more powerful. Archaeologists have uncovered these ingenious lamps in mine shafts reaching hundreds of feet below the surface. At first glance, they look like simple clay vessels, but hidden inside are carefully placed pieces of polished quartz or selenite crystals. When positioned just right, these natural prisms refracted and amplified the lamp's glow, casting light much farther than a naked flame ever could. What's truly remarkable is how they harnessed optics without understanding the science behind it. By trial and error, they discovered that certain crystals bent light in predictable ways, creating bright, focused beams. Some lamps even had adjustable crystal mounts, allowing miners to direct light exactly where they needed it centuries before the invention of the lens. But why go to such lengths? The answer lies in what they were mining. Crete's underground labyrinths held not just copper and tin, but also rare minerals like hematite and lapis lazuli, used in vibrant frescoes and sacred artifacts. To extract these treasures safely, miners needed steady, shadow-free illumination to spot unstable rock or valuable seams. The real mystery: how they maintained these lamps in humid, oxygen-poor tunnels. Some designs included clever ventilation channels that kept flames burning steadily while minimizing smoke, a feat of engineering that rivals modern safety lamps. Others suggest they used animal fats mixed with aromatic resins, reducing soot while providing a faint, pleasant scent in the stifling darkness. As we piece together these discoveries, one truth emerges: the Minoans didn't just endure the dark. They mastered it, turning crude tools into sophisticated lighting systems that predate known optical science by over 2,000 years. Next, we'll unravel the Persian Qanat paradox, how desert miners carved thousands of miles of underground waterways with impossible precision. Now let's journey from the illuminated tunnels of Crete to the scorching deserts of ancient Persia, where miners faced an even more daunting challenge: water. In a land where every drop was precious, Persian engineers accomplished the impossible, carving thousands of miles of underground waterways known as qanats, with slopes so precise they defied the tools of their time. These weren't just simple tunnels. The qanats stretched over 3,000 miles, delivering water from mountain aquifers to arid valleys with a gradient of just 1/10 of a degree, a feat that would challenge modern engineers armed with laser levels. A single miscalculation could mean the water would either stagnate or flow too violently, destroying the entire system. Yet somehow, without theodolites or GPS, they achieved near-perfect accuracy. The secret may lie in their mysterious surveying tools. Archaeologists have found strange bronze artifacts resembling inverted plumb bobs, along with notched rods that could have functioned as primitive levels. Some texts mention a water balance, a device that may have used floating markers to measure minute elevation changes, but the true genius was in their method. Teams of surveyors worked in tandem, digging vertical shafts at intervals to check alignment, adjusting the tunnel's path like a subterranean connect the dots. What's even more astonishing is how they maintained these channels. The qanats weren't just mining infrastructure, they were lifelines supplying water for agriculture, drinking, and even cooling underground workspaces where metals were smelted. To prevent collapses, builders lined tunnels with ceramic rings or used a technique called qanat grafting, merging new channels into existing ones like branches of an underground tree. The real puzzle: how they mapped water sources. Some scholars believe they tracked vegetation patterns or observed where wild animals dug for water. Others suggest they listened for echoes in dry wells, detecting hidden aquifers through sound. Whatever their methods, the results were so reliable that many qanats still function today, 2,000 years later, silent testament to a lost science of desert hydrology. Next, we'll confront the enigmatic stone spheres of Costa Rica, where perfectly round artifacts may hold clues to ancient gold processing techniques. Shifting our focus from the precision of Persian qanats, we arrive in the lush jungles of Costa Rica, where hundreds of perfectly spherical stone orbs, some weighing over 15 tons, lie scattered across the landscape. These enigmatic artifacts, known as the stone spheres of Costa Rica, have puzzled archaeologists for decades, but recent discoveries suggest they may hold a surprising connection to ancient gold mining techniques. At first glance, the spheres appear to be ceremonial objects or astronomical markers, yet their sheer quantity and uniformity hint at a more practical purpose. Researchers now believe these orbs functioned as massive ball mills, used to crush gold-bearing quartz into fine powder. When rolled or rotated in pits lined with harder stones, they could pulverize ore with remarkable efficiency, a primitive but effective form of mechanized processing. Evidence supporting this theory comes from nearby ancient mining sites, where similar, smaller spheres have been found alongside grinding pits. Microscopic analysis reveals gold particles embedded in their surfaces, along with telltale striations from repeated crushing. Even more compelling is their placement near riverbeds rich in placer gold, suggesting a systematic workflow. Miners extracted ore upstream, then transported it to these spherical mills for processing. The engineering behind these spheres is equally fascinating. Carved from gabbro, a dense volcanic rock, their near-perfect roundness implies sophisticated stone working techniques. Some scholars propose they were shaped using a combination of heat, water, and abrasion methods that would have required precise knowledge of material properties. Others note their size gradation, with diameters matching different stages of ore reduction, much like modern industrial crushers. What remains unexplained is how pre-Columbian cultures moved these massive stones without wheels or draft animals. Local legends speak of magic that made them weightless, while modern experiments suggest log rollers and rope systems. Either way, their existence challenges our assumptions about ancient mining technology. As we piece together this puzzle, one thing becomes clear: these spheres were more than art. They were the heart of a hidden industrial process, turning raw stone into precious gold, a testament to ingenuity in the face of geological challenges. Next, we'll venture into the frozen north, where Viking blacksmiths forged a legendary steel that still baffles metallurgists today. Now, let's journey from the tropical mysteries of Costa Rica to the icy realms of Scandinavia, where Viking blacksmiths crafted a weapon so advanced it defies modern understanding. The legendary Ulfbert swords, dating back over 1,000 years, were forged from a type of steel so pure and strong that even today's metallurgists struggle to replicate it. These blades, marked with the distinctive Ulfbert inscription, were sharper, more flexible, and far more durable than anything else in medieval Europe. But where did this extraordinary metal come from? The answer lies in Scandinavia's hidden iron mines, where Viking miners extracted a rare form of high-quality ore. Unlike the brittle, impure iron common at the time, Ulfbert steel contained almost no slag, a byproduct of smelting that weakens the metal. This purity suggests the Vikings had developed a revolutionary purification process, possibly involving crucible steel techniques borrowed from distant trade routes. Some scholars believe they used a special type of furnace that reached temperatures exceeding 1,200 degrees Celsius, far hotter than typical medieval forges. What's even more astonishing is how they maintained such consistency. Modern tests reveal that Ulfbert swords from different centuries share nearly identical chemical compositions, hinting at a closely guarded industrial secret passed down through generations. One theory points to the use of rare, high-phosphorus iron ore from specific Scandinavian deposits, combined with a unique smelting method that removed impurities without compromising strength. Yet the true genius of the Vikings may lie in their understanding of carbon content. By carefully controlling the amount of carbon mixed into the iron, they created a near-perfect balance of hardness and flexibility, a feat that modern steelmakers only achieved centuries later. Even today, replicating Ulfbert steel requires precision equipment and advanced metallurgical knowledge, raising the question: how did Viking craftsmen accomplish this with nothing but fire, hammers, and intuition? The mystery deepens when we consider the logistics. How did they transport this prized ore across treacherous landscapes? Some evidence suggests they used river networks and winter ice roads, moving raw materials in secret to protect their technological edge. Others speculate that the Ulfbert name wasn't just a maker's mark but a guild or even a royal monopoly controlling access to these coveted mines. As we marvel at these swords, some still razor-sharp after a millennium, we're left with a humbling realization: the Vikings weren't just fierce warriors. They were master metallurgists whose lost techniques might still hold secrets for modern science. Next, we'll travel to the sun-baked plains of Australia, where ancient miners relied not on tools, but on songs to uncover the Earth's hidden treasures. Leaving behind the icy forges of Scandinavia, we now find ourselves under the vast Australian sun, where an entirely different kind of mining wisdom thrived. Here, the Aboriginal peoples unlocked the Earth's secrets not with pickaxes or furnaces, but with something far more extraordinary: the power of song. Imagine navigating a mineral-rich landscape without maps, drills, or written records, just ancient melodies passed down through generations. For Australia's first peoples, these songs were far more than cultural treasures. They were precise geological guides, encoding vital information about where to find ochre, quartz, and other valuable materials. Known as songlines, these oral maps wove together landmarks, water sources, and mineral deposits into rhythmic stories that could be walked, sung, and remembered. What's truly remarkable is their accuracy. Modern geologists have compared Aboriginal songlines with mineral surveys and found an uncanny alignment. certain songs describe rock formations and soil types that signal the presence of ochre, a pigment used in sacred art and trade. Others reference subtle changes in vegetation that hint at underlying metal deposits. In one documented case, a songline led researchers to a previously unknown ochre mine that had been untouched for centuries, its location preserved perfectly in verse. But how did these songs work? The secret lies in their structure. Each verse corresponds to a specific stretch of land, with rhythms and lyrics mirroring the terrain's features. A shift in tempo might indicate a turn toward a hidden valley, while a repeated chorus could mark a deposit site. Some songs even include instructions for extraction, like which stones to pry loose or where to dig shallow pits. Critics once dismissed these traditions as myth, but science now reveals their sophistication. Studies show that songlines often follow natural mineral veins or fault lines, suggesting an intimate understanding of geology. Even more puzzling is how this knowledge endured without written records. Some researchers believe the song's melodic patterns acted as mnemonic devices, making complex information easier to memorize and share across hundreds of generations. The implications are profound. While European miners relied on visible outcrops or luck, Aboriginal Australians used a system that blended ecology, astronomy, and acoustics. Certain songlines are said to align with star positions, helping miners navigate at night, while others incorporate the sounds of wind or water to pinpoint exact locations. Yet many of these songs remain undeciphered, their full meanings known only to traditional custodians. As modern mining companies scramble to rediscover these lost techniques, one question lingers: could these ancient singing maps hold clues to undiscovered mineral wealth, or even teach us new ways to interact with the land? Next, we'll venture to the towering peaks of the Andes, where colonial miners stumbled upon a mountain of silver, and a mystery that still haunts Bolivia today. Now, let's journey to the towering heights of the Andes, where a mountain of silver once fueled empires and claimed countless lives. The story of Potosi is one of staggering wealth and dark mysteries, a place where colonial miners extracted silver in quantities that defied belief. At its peak in the 16th century, Potosi was the richest silver mine in the world, producing nearly half of all silver globally. But how did miners, armed with only basic tools, manage to pull such impossible amounts from the earth? The Spanish called it Cerro Rico, the rich mountain, but locals knew it by a grimmer name, the mountain that eats men. Tens of thousands of indigenous and enslaved workers perished in its tunnels, yet the silver kept flowing almost as if the mountain itself was giving it up willingly. Here's where the mystery deepens. Historical records suggest the Spanish were baffled by the sheer volume of silver they found. Some scholars believe they didn't discover the deposits, they stumbled upon an ancient system already in place. Long before the Spanish arrived, the Inca and even earlier cultures may have been mining Potosi using techniques lost to time. One clue lies in the strange, honeycombed tunnels that wind through the mountain. Unlike typical colonial mines, these passages follow intricate, almost organic patterns, resembling the work of ants more than human engineers. Some archaeologists argue this layout matches pre-Inca methods, designed to follow silver veins with minimal effort. Even more puzzling are the remnants of a white powder found in ancient mining sites nearby, a substance that, when mixed with ore, may have helped separate silver more efficiently. Could this have been a forgotten refining technique, rediscovered and exploited by the Spanish? Then there's the water. Potosi sits in a dry region, yet colonial accounts mention elaborate systems of reservoirs and channels used to power ore-crushing mills. Recent studies suggest these weren't Spanish innovations but repurposed pre-Columbian infrastructure. Indigenous miners likely harnessed seasonal rains and groundwater in ways modern engineers are only beginning to understand. The darkest question, though, is what happened to the people who originally mastered this mountain. Were their methods erased by conquest, or did they vanish intentionally, taking their secrets with them? Today, Cerro Rico is crumbling, its tunnels unstable from centuries of exploitation. Yet whispers persist that the deepest, oldest shafts, ones the Spanish never reached, still hold untapped silver, along with answers about who really unlocked the mountain's wealth. As we move forward, we'll descend into another enigma, the jade mines of Burma, where legends speak of vast chambers hidden beneath the Earth's surface. Now let's venture into the mist-shrouded highlands of Burma, where the Earth itself seems to guard its most precious secrets. For centuries, legends have whispered of vast underground chambers filled with jade, a stone so revered in ancient Asia that it was considered more valuable than gold. But these weren't just mines. Stories spoke of entire hollowed-out worlds beneath the mountains, where tunnels stretched for kilometers and walls glittered with emerald-green veins. Recent discoveries in Burma's conflict-ridden Kachin state have added fuel to these age-old tales. Deep in the jungle, miners and researchers have uncovered networks of tunnels so extensive they rival modern subway systems. Some passages run straight for over a kilometer, with walls showing precise, tool-marked cuts that defy the crude methods of early mining. Even more baffling, these tunnels lie hundreds of meters below the surface, in areas where modern equipment struggles to operate, raising the question: how did ancient workers dig so deep, so precisely, without collapsing the soft jade-rich rock? Then there's the mystery of the floating stone. Local miners describe a rare type of jade that feels unnaturally light, almost buoyant, as if it defies gravity. Geologists have no explanation for this phenomenon, but ancient texts from China mention a similar stone used in imperial rituals, a jade that refused to sink. Could this be evidence of a lost technique for treating or refining the mineral? The most chilling clue, though, comes from the tunnels themselves. In 2019, a team documenting illegal jade mines stumbled upon a shaft sealed with massive stone slabs carved with symbols matching those found in 2,000-year-old Burmese temples. When they managed to peek inside, they reported a chamber so large their headlamps couldn't reach the far wall, with pillars of raw jade still standing like columns in a cathedral. But before they could explore further, military conflict forced them to abandon the site. To this day, no one knows what lies beyond those slabs or who built them. As we peel back these layers of legend and discovery, one thing becomes clear: Burma's jade mines aren't just sources of wealth. They're time capsules hiding answers about civilizations that mastered the Earth in ways we're only beginning to glimpse. And with each new tunnel uncovered, the line between myth and history grows thinner. Next, we'll turn our attention to an even more enigmatic connection between sacred Buddhist texts and the gemstone mines of Central Asia, where spiritual wisdom and earthly treasure intertwine. Now, let's journey from the jade-laden tunnels of Burma to the windswept deserts of Central Asia, where spirituality and geology collide in the most unexpected way. Hidden within the sacred pages of Buddhism's Diamond Sutra, one of the oldest printed texts in history, lie clues that may unlock the secrets of ancient gemstone mines. At first glance, this revered scripture appears to be purely philosophical, teaching the nature of reality and enlightenment. But scholars have recently uncovered cryptic passages that describe precise locations, mineral properties, and even extraction methods. One verse speaks of the indestructible stone that parts the river, which matches accounts of diamond-bearing gravel beds along Central Asia's Amu Darya. Another mentions the crystal that blooms beneath the moon, eerily similar to how topaz forms in lunar-like high-altitude mines. The most compelling evidence comes from a 9th-century manuscript found in a Dunhuang cave, where the margins contain strange diagrams, not of mandalas but of mine shafts and water diversion systems. One illustration shows a multi-level tunnel network with symbols matching those still used by Tajik ruby miners today. Even more intriguing, the text warns against greed that cracks the earth, possibly referencing early knowledge of unsustainable mining practices. But here's the real mystery. These sacred texts describe gem deposits that were supposedly exhausted centuries ago, yet modern geologists keep finding fresh veins exactly where the sutras predicted. In 2017, a team following a passage about the valley where heaven's tears harden discovered a previously unknown sapphire deposit in Afghanistan's Hindu Kush. The site's layout matched an 11th century Tibetan manuscript's description down to the placement of ritual marker stones. Were these texts merely poetic metaphors, or did Buddhist monks preserve advanced geological knowledge through coded teachings? The answer may lie in the tradition of earth treasures, the belief that certain gems were spiritual conduits, their locations revealed through meditation. Perhaps the Diamond Sutra isn't just a guide to the mind, but also a map to the earth's hidden riches waiting for those who can read between its sacred lines. As we piece together these spiritual and scientific puzzles, our next stop takes us to the jungles of Mesoamerica, where ancient miners turned tree sap into something far more valuable than gold. Deep in the steamy jungles of ancient Mesoamerica, the Olmec civilization achieved what modern science would not replicate for thousands of years: the mass production of rubber. While most associate rubber with 19th century factories, these ingenious people were crafting bouncy balls, waterproof coatings, and even rubber sandals over 3,500 years ago. The secret lay in their mastery of the sapodilla tree's milky latex, but here's what baffles researchers. Raw latex is sticky and fragile, yet Olmec artifacts show durable, elastic rubber that could withstand heavy use. The key, a mysterious vulcanization process using morning glory vines. Modern experiments reveal that when the vine's sulfur-rich juice mixes with latex and is heated, it creates a chemical reaction identical to Charles Goodyear's patented 19th century method. But how did the Olmec discover this without modern chemistry? Archaeologists found clues at El Manotti, a sacred bog where rubber balls were ritually deposited. The site's preserved offerings show layers of rubber wrapped around vine fibers, suggesting a deliberate recipe. Even more astonishing, some balls contain traces of psychedelic compounds from the same vines, hinting that spiritual rituals may have led to this industrial breakthrough. The scale of production was staggering. At the Olmec city of La Venta, researchers uncovered rubber workshops capable of producing hundreds of balls per week. But the real mystery, their rubber items show consistent quality across centuries, implying standardized techniques lost to time. Recent LiDAR scans reveal vast latex groves with precise drainage systems, proving this was no small-scale operation. As we marvel at this ancient innovation, our journey takes us next to the towering salt cathedrals of the Andes, where miners carved not just minerals but entire sacred worlds beneath the earth. Now let's journey from the rubber forests of Mesoamerica to the breathtaking depths of the Andes, where an entirely different kind of ancient marvel awaits. Hidden beneath the mountains of modern-day Colombia lies the Salt Cathedral of Zipaquirá, a subterranean wonder that blurs the line between mine and temple. Pre-Columbian miners didn't just extract salt here, they transformed the earth itself into a sacred space. Carving through solid halite deposits, they created a labyrinth of tunnels, chambers, and even altars, all illuminated by flickering torches. But what's truly astonishing is the scale. This wasn't just a functional mine, it was a spiritual epicenter with chambers large enough to hold hundreds of worshippers. Modern engineers still puzzle over how these ancient workers stabilized such vast underground spaces without modern supports. The walls and ceilings show precise angles that distribute weight flawlessly, a technique lost to time. Even more intriguing, the acoustics. Certain chambers amplify sound in uncanny ways, with whispers carrying clearly across distances of over 50 meters. Researchers now believe these spaces were designed for ritual chanting or even sound mining, using resonant frequencies to locate new salt veins, a practice hinted at in indigenous oral traditions. The cathedral's most sacred space, the nave of creation, features a towering salt cross bathed in ethereal blue light. But recent scans reveal something even older beneath it, a network of tunnels with markings suggesting they were used for ceremonial processions. Some walls bear grooves that match the frequency of traditional Andean instruments, fueling theories that music was part of the mining process itself. As we stand in awe of this underground sanctuary, our next stop takes us to the shimmering deserts of Peru, where the Moche civilization turned liquid gold into flowing art. But before we leave the Andes behind, let's uncover another dazzling secret hidden in Peru's desert sands. The Moche civilization, masters of metallurgy, achieved something that still baffles scientists today. They made gold flow like liquid. Imagine sculptures so lifelike, the gold appears to ripple and move as if it were water. These weren't just ornaments, they were feats of engineering that defied the limits of ancient technology. The Moche's most famous creation, the decapitator god ceremonial cups where gold seems to cascade like a waterfall. Modern analysis reveals their secret, a sophisticated mercury gilding technique. They mixed liquid mercury with gold powder, painting it onto copper surfaces. When heated, the mercury evaporated, leaving behind a flawless gold layer so thin it could bend without cracking. But here's the mystery: mercury is deadly, and yet the Moche worked with it for centuries without apparent harm. Recent excavations uncovered workshops with ventilation shafts designed to funnel fumes away, suggesting they understood the dangers better than we thought. Even more puzzling are the lost wax molds found at Cerro Blanco. These clay molds held intricate designs of gods and animals, filled with molten gold that cooled into impossibly delicate shapes. Some pieces were as thin as a hair, yet showed no signs of tearing. Archaeologists suspect the Moche used a blend of gold alloys with unknown softening agents, a formula that remains elusive today. And then there's the ultimate enigma, the Golden Gardens of Sapon. Excavations revealed gold sheets shaped into plants with stems that swayed in the wind, mimicking real crops. How did they engineer such flexibility? X-rays show microscopic hinges and alloy ratios that modern jewelers can't replicate. Some theories suggest they harvested gold from meteorites, which naturally contain rare, malleable metals. As we marvel at these liquid masterpieces, our journey takes us next to a place where the earth itself seemed to regrow its treasures, the Cave of Metals in Andalusia. Now, let's step into a place where the earth itself seemed to breathe life into its treasures, the Cave of Metals in Andalusia. Ancient texts from Roman and Moorish miners describe this site as something out of legend, a mine that never ran dry, where ores mysteriously replenished themselves over time. To those who worked its tunnels, it wasn't just a mine, it was alive. Modern science has begun to unravel this ancient mystery. Deep within the cave, researchers discovered something extraordinary: colonies of bacteria that literally create metal. These microorganisms, thriving in the acidic waters of the mine, consume dissolved minerals and excrete them as solid ores. Over decades, they can form new veins of copper, iron, and even gold. It's a process so slow, early miners might have witnessed the regrowth over generations, fueling tales of a self-renewing treasure trove. But here's where it gets even stranger. The bacteria don't just passively produce metal, they organize it. Scans reveal intricate, branching patterns in the ore deposits that mirror bacterial colonies. Some sections look almost engineered, with layers as precise as forged steel. This raises a tantalizing question: did ancient miners somehow harness these microbes, guiding their growth to farm metal-like crops? Evidence suggests they might have. Clay tablets found nearby detail rituals involving offerings of vinegar and barley, substances we now know accelerate bacterial ore formation. Even the mine's layout hints at intentional design, with tunnels following natural water channels where the bacteria thrive. Yet the full scope of their knowledge remains lost. Today, scientists are racing to replicate these natural processes for sustainable mining, but the cave of metals still guards its oldest secrets. As we leave this living labyrinth behind, our next stop takes us to a land where traders turned volcanic glass into an ancient global network, the Armenian obsidian mines. Now, let's journey to a time when volcanic glass was more valuable than gold, the Armenian obsidian network. Picture this: over 10,000 years ago, long before written history, ancient traders were mining and moving obsidian across vast distances, from the highlands of Armenia to the far reaches of Europe and the Middle East. This wasn't just trade, it was a Stone Age superhighway of razor-sharp volcanic glass. What makes this even more astonishing is the scale. Archaeologists have traced obsidian tools found in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and even the Balkans back to specific Armenian mines, some over 1,000 kilometers away. These weren't small exchanges, entire villages thrived on the production and trade of this precious material. But here's the puzzle: how did Stone Age traders navigate such immense distances without maps, compasses, or even the wheel? The answer might lie in the stars and the landscape. Recent studies suggest these ancient merchants used natural landmarks, mountain peaks, river valleys, and even specific rock formations as a kind of prehistoric GPS. Some researchers believe they also relied on oral traditions, passing down detailed routes through songs or stories that acted as living maps. But the real genius was in their mining techniques. At sites like Artani and Hatties, they didn't just hack away at the rock. They used precise thermal shock methods. By heating the obsidian with fire and then dousing it with water, they could fracture the glass in clean, predictable sheets, creating perfect blades with minimal waste. This level of sophistication hints at a deep understanding of material science, thousands of years before formal metallurgy. Yet the biggest mystery remains: how did they coordinate such a vast network without written records? Some theories point to a system of trusted intermediaries, almost like an ancient guild, while others suggest seasonal gathering spots where traders met to exchange goods and knowledge. As we piece together this forgotten web of commerce, one thing is clear: the Armenian obsidian network was more than just trade. It was humanity's first glimpse of globalization. And with that, we turn to another enigma, the Bohemian Garnet Cartel, where medieval miners held a monopoly so tight, their techniques remain secret to this day. Now, let's step into the shadowy world of medieval gemstone empires where the Bohemian Garnet Cartel ruled with an iron grip. Imagine a time when a single region in Central Europe held a monopoly so powerful, their techniques for crafting flawless garnets remained locked in secrecy for centuries. These weren't just jewelers, they were master alchemists of stone, turning rough minerals into glittering treasures coveted by kings and queens. The heart of their empire lay in what's now the Czech Republic, where garnet deposits were so rich they became the lifeblood of an entire industry. But here's what baffles historians: how did these medieval miners achieve such precision in an era without modern tools? Their secret: a crushing method so refined it could split garnets along natural planes with near-perfect symmetry. Archaeologists have uncovered stone mills and grinding wheels designed with grooves at exact angles, allowing workers to shape garnets into identical facets by hand. Some theories suggest they used a slurry of crushed garnet dust and water as a polishing agent, creating a feedback loop where the very material they mined helped perfect its own finish. Yet the cartel's true power wasn't just in their craftsmanship, it was in their control. They enforced strict trade routes, punishing anyone who leaked their methods or smuggled uncut stones. Records show they even manipulated supply by flooding markets with inferior garnets to drive up prices for their premium pieces, the most intriguing mystery. The Bohemian Red, a legendary garnet hue achieved through an unknown heating process. Modern gemologists still can't replicate its depth of color, leading some to suspect the cartel used underground kilns with precise temperature variations lost to time. As we unravel the cartel's secrets, one thing becomes clear: this was more than a business. It was a carefully guarded science blending geology, artistry, and ruthless strategy. And with that, we turn to another ancient marvel, the lost wax method's origins, where African metallurgists may have drawn inspiration from nature's own architects. Now, let's journey even further back in time to uncover the roots of one of history's most ingenious metalworking techniques, the lost wax method. This ancient process, which allowed artisans to create intricate metal objects with astonishing precision, may have its origins deep in the heart of Africa. Picture this: thousands of years ago, skilled metallurgists were already mastering a method so advanced, it's still used by jewelers and sculptors today. The lost wax method begins with a wax model of the desired object coated in clay to form a mold. When heated, the wax melts away, hence the name, leaving a hollow cavity that's then filled with molten metal. The result, exquisitely detailed pieces, from delicate jewelry to ceremonial artifacts. But here's where the mystery deepens. While this technique is often associated with later civilizations like the Egyptians or Greeks, evidence suggests it may have emerged much earlier in Africa. Archaeologists have uncovered wax carving tools and clay molds in ancient African mines, some dating back over 3,000 years. These discoveries hint at a level of sophistication that challenges our assumptions about early metallurgy. But perhaps the most fascinating theory connects this method to an unlikely source: termite mounds. Termites construct their towering mounds with intricate internal tunnels, perfectly regulating temperature and airflow. Some researchers believe ancient metalworkers observed these natural structures and replicated their design in their own molds. The porous, layered walls of termite mounds could have inspired the clay molds used in the lost wax process, allowing even heat distribution and preventing cracks during casting. Yet not everyone agrees. Skeptics argue that the similarities are coincidental, pointing out that early artisans could have developed the technique independently through trial and error. What's undeniable, though, is the sheer brilliance of these ancient innovators. Whether inspired by nature or born from human ingenuity, the lost wax method stands as a testament to their mastery. As we marvel at these discoveries, another mystery beckons. How did Japanese monks harness the power of mercury to refine gold in secret? That's a story of alchemy and devotion waiting just ahead. Now, let's turn our attention to a world where spirituality and metallurgy intertwined in the shadows. The secret gold refining practices of Japanese Buddhist monks. Hidden within temple walls, these monks perfected an alchemical process so dangerous it was whispered about but rarely documented. Imagine secluded monasteries where the quest for purity extended beyond the soul to the very gold used in sacred rituals. The monks' method relied on mercury, a liquid metal as deadly as it was miraculous. They would dissolve raw gold in pools of mercury, creating an amalgam, a blend where the gold particles dispersed evenly through the toxic liquid. Next, they carefully heated the mixture, causing the mercury to evaporate and leaving behind purified gold. This technique, known as mercury gilding, allowed them to produce gold of unparalleled brilliance for statues, altars, and ritual objects. But here's the catch: mercury vapors are lethal. How did these monks survive such hazardous work? Legends speak of cryptic precautions, ventilated underground chambers, masks infused with herbal antidotes, and rituals to ward off the metal's spirit. Yet what's even more intriguing are the forbidden texts. Scattered across temple archives, these manuscripts contain coded instructions, mixing metallurgy with mystic diagrams. Some passages describe mercury as the dragon's breath, a substance capable of transmuting base metals into gold, echoing the dreams of alchemists worldwide. But why the secrecy? Historians speculate that these practices were guarded not just for safety but to protect the temple's wealth. In an era where gold symbolized divine favor, controlling its purity meant holding immense spiritual and political power. Some even suggest the monks' knowledge was smuggled from China, where mercury refining had been practiced for centuries, though Japanese techniques show unique refinements. Yet mysteries remain. How did they precisely control the mercury's evaporation without modern tools, and what became of the countless monks who succumbed to its poison? The answers may lie in undiscovered texts or buried temple workshops, waiting to reveal their secrets. As we ponder these enigmas, another marvel calls to us: the towering Nurag mines of Sardinia, where Bronze Age engineers may have harnessed sound to explore the Earth's depths. But that's a story for another moment. Now, let's journey to the rugged island of Sardinia, where ancient stone towers rise from the landscape like silent sentinels guarding forgotten secrets. These mysterious structures, known as Nurag, have puzzled archaeologists for centuries. But what if these Bronze Age towers weren't just fortresses or temples? What if they were the nerve centers of an advanced mining operation, equipped with technology that allowed ancient engineers to see deep beneath the earth? The Nurag towers, built between 1800 and 500 BCE, are marvels of prehistoric engineering. Their thick stone walls and labyrinthine corridors suggest more than just defensive purposes. Recent studies reveal something extraordinary. These towers may have functioned as acoustic amplifiers, channeling sound waves into the ground to locate mineral deposits. Imagine miners striking the walls or floors with tools, then listening for echoes that revealed hollow spaces or rich veins of metal below. This technique, akin to modern sonar, would have given them an edge in pinpointing where to dig. But the evidence doesn't stop there. Inside some Nurag, archaeologists have found unusual stone slabs with precise grooves and depressions. When struck, these slabs produce distinct tones that resonate through the tower's chambers. Could these have been ancient tuning devices calibrated to specific frequencies for underground exploration? Even more intriguing are the networks of wells and tunnels beneath the towers, often aligned with known copper and lead deposits. Some shafts descend dozens of meters, following the exact paths where echoes would have indicated ore-rich zones. The Nurag culture left no written records, but their legacy lives on in Sardinian folklore. Local legends speak of the singing stones, rocks that hum when touched, guiding miners to hidden treasures. Modern experiments have shown that certain Nurag structures do indeed amplify sound in ways that could aid subterranean mapping. Yet questions remain. How did Bronze Age people develop such sophisticated acoustic knowledge? And were these towers part of a larger, interconnected mining network across the Mediterranean? As we unravel the secrets of the Nurag, another enigma emerges, one that takes us to the heart of medieval Europe, where alchemists pursued the dream of turning base metals into silver. But that's a tale for another moment. Now, let's turn our attention to a different kind of mystery, one that blurs the line between science and legend. Deep in the medieval mines of Europe, alchemists pursued a tantalizing dream, creating silver water, a liquid believed to hold miraculous properties. But was this shimmering elixir just a myth, or could it have been an early form of colloidal mineral extraction, centuries ahead of its time? The concept of potable silver appears in countless alchemical texts, described as a drinkable solution that could purify the body, heal wounds, and even extend life. To recreate this legendary substance, modern researchers have turned to medieval recipes, which often called for dissolving silver in acidic mine waters or fermenting metallic ores with organic compounds. The result, a suspension of microscopic silver particles remarkably similar to what we now call colloidal silver. But here's where it gets fascinating. Some mine sites where alchemists worked, like Germany's Harz Mountains, naturally produced acidic groundwater rich in dissolved metals. When this water seeped through silver-bearing rocks, it could have created a primitive colloidal solution without any human intervention. Did alchemists simply observe and replicate this natural phenomenon? Ancient equipment found in these mines, including glass flasks with residue traces, suggests they were refining their methods through trial and error. Yet the mystery deepens. Medieval texts also speak of silver water being used to treat miners' ailments, from infections to fatigue. Modern science confirms that colloidal silver has antimicrobial properties, but how did alchemists discover this without microscopes or chemistry labs? One theory points to mining communities noticing that workers who drank from certain metal-rich springs fell ill less often. Over time, these observations could have evolved into a refined, if imperfect, understanding of mineral-based medicine. Of course, not all claims about silver water hold up. Some alchemists insisted it could transmute base metals into silver, a clear impossibility. But the fact remains, their experiments with metallic solutions hint at an early grasp of nanotechnology long before the term existed. As we piece together the alchemists' methods, we're left wondering, were they merely lucky observers of natural processes, or did they possess insights into mineral extraction that we've only recently rediscovered? This quest for hidden knowledge takes us next to the windswept caves of Bulgaria, where ancient miners harnessed the very breath of the earth to uncover gold. But that's a story for another moment. Now, let's journey to the sun-baked islands of Malta, where a network of mysterious grooves carved into the limestone has puzzled archaeologists for centuries. These parallel tracks, known as the Maltese cart ruts, crisscross the landscape like ancient railroad tracks. But what were they really used for? One compelling theory connects these enigmatic ruts to the island's prehistoric mining operations. Malta was once rich in valuable minerals like ochre and flint, and the ruts often lead to or from known mining sites. The grooves, worn deep into the rock, suggest repeated heavy use, perhaps by carts transporting ore. But here's the twist: the spacing between the ruts doesn't match any known ancient wheeled vehicles. Some tracks are too narrow, others unusually wide, and many curve or merge in ways that defy simple explanation. Could these ruts have been created by specialized mining vehicles lost to history? Some researchers propose sled-like contraptions or even log rollers designed to haul massive stone blocks or mineral loads. Others point to the ruts' precise engineering, their consistent depth and smooth channels as evidence of advanced technology. Yet skeptics argue that erosion or later agricultural use could have distorted their original purpose. The debate grows even more intriguing when we consider Malta's neighboring islands, where similar ruts appear. On Gozo, tracks plunge straight into the sea, hinting at submerged mining sites or trade routes. If these were indeed part of a mineral transport network, it would rewrite our understanding of prehistoric industry in the Mediterranean. But without definitive proof, the cart ruts remain an open question. Were they the ancient equivalent of freight corridors, or do they point to a forgotten mining technology? As we move forward, our next stop takes us to a marvel of metallurgy that defies time itself, the rust-resistant iron pillar of Delhi. But that's a story for another moment. Now, shifting our focus to another marvel of ancient metallurgy, let's turn our attention to the astonishing iron pillar of Delhi. Standing tall for over 1,600 years, this towering column has baffled scientists with its near-miraculous resistance to rust. Unlike ordinary iron, which succumbs to corrosion within decades, this ancient structure remains pristine, as if time itself has left it untouched. The secret lies in its composition. Modern analysis reveals the pillar is made of an exceptionally pure form of wrought iron, with a high phosphorus content and minimal sulfur, a combination that creates a protective passive layer shielding it from the elements. But here's the real mystery: where did this extraordinary metal come from? Some researchers propose an otherworldly origin, suggesting the iron may have been sourced from meteorites. Ancient cultures often prized meteoritic iron for its superior quality, and India's rich history of celestial reverence makes this theory even more compelling. Yet, others argue that the pillar's metal was smelted using advanced, now lost techniques. Historical texts hint at sophisticated Indian metallurgical practices capable of producing such refined iron. Could ancient blacksmiths have achieved this level of purity through methods we've yet to rediscover? The debate continues as no known iron deposits in the region naturally match the pillar's unique composition. Adding to the intrigue, the pillar bears an inscription crediting its creation to King Chandragupta II, linking it to the Gupta Empire's golden age of science and craftsmanship. Was this a display of royal power, or did it serve a deeper, perhaps even ritualistic purpose? Some speculate it functioned as a giant astronomical instrument, while others believe it was a testament to India's metallurgical mastery. Whatever its origins, the iron pillar stands as a silent witness to a time when ancient engineers achieved feats that still elude modern science. As we move forward, our next journey takes us to the heart of Mesoamerica, where another toxic treasure. The Aztec cinnabar mines hold secrets just as enigmatic. But that's a discovery for another moment. Now, let's venture into the vibrant yet perilous world of the Aztecs, where beauty and danger intertwined in the form of cinnabar, a striking red mercury ore that became their signature pigment. This toxic treasure wasn't just a decorative choice, it was a symbol of power, spirituality, and a testament to their mastery over one of nature's deadliest elements. The Aztecs mined cinnabar from volcanic regions, grinding the brilliant red ore into powder for paint. They adorned temples, codices, and even their own bodies with it, despite knowing its lethal properties. But here's the puzzle: how did they handle this poison daily without widespread harm? Modern toxicologists are stunned by the absence of mass mercury poisoning in Aztec records, suggesting they had sophisticated and still mysterious protective practices. Some researchers point to herbal antidotes mentioned in colonial texts, like brews made from local plants that may have chelated mercury from the body. Others speculate about ritualistic detox methods, possibly involving sweat baths or clay masks to absorb toxins. Yet the most intriguing clue lies in their mining gear. Archaeologists have found remnants of woven fiber masks and gloves coated in unknown resins. Could these have been early hazmat suits? The cinnabar code deepens when we consider its sacred role. Aztec priests used the pigment in ceremonies, believing its vibrancy channeled divine energy. Was their survival tied to spiritual knowledge we've yet to decode? Or did they possess practical mining wisdom lost to time? As we unravel these secrets, one thing is clear: the Aztecs turned poison into art with a skill that still leaves scientists in awe. Next, we'll uncover how another ancient culture transformed the Earth's pigments not for decoration, but for storytelling etched in stone. Now, let's travel to the rugged landscapes of Australia's Kimberley region, where ancient artistry and mining ingenuity collide in one of humanity's oldest mysteries. Here, the Bradshaw paintings, some of the world's most sophisticated prehistoric art, hold clues to a forgotten mining tradition that dates back an astonishing 50,000 years. These vibrant ochre paintings, stretching across cave walls and rocky overhangs, weren't just decorative. They were the product of an elaborate mining operation hidden deep within the earth. Archaeologists have uncovered what they call paint factories, cave systems where indigenous Australians extracted and processed ochre, transforming raw earth into pigments of striking reds, yellows, and whites. But how did these ancient miners locate ochre deposits without modern tools? The answer may lie in their deep connection to the land. Oral traditions speak of singing maps, songs passed down through generations that encoded the locations of mineral-rich sites. Recent studies have found these songs often correspond with actual geological formations, suggesting an uncanny understanding of the Earth's hidden treasures. Inside the caves, evidence reveals a meticulous production line. Grinding stones, still stained with pigment, sit beside hollowed-out rocks used for mixing. Some chambers even show signs of heating, hinting at techniques to enhance the color or durability of the ochre. What's truly baffling is the scale. These mines operated for millennia, with each generation refining the process. The Bradshaw paintings themselves add another layer of intrigue. Their intricate human figures, often adorned with elaborate headdresses and accessories, may depict the miners or ritual leaders overseeing the ochre trade. Could these artworks be a visual record of Australia's first industrial enterprise? As we piece together this ancient puzzle, one truth emerges. Long before modern mining, Indigenous Australians mastered the art of turning stone into storytelling. Next, we'll journey to another corner of the globe where gold wasn't just mined. It was woven into the very fabric of royal tradition. Now, let's turn our attention to the misty hills of Wales, where a glittering tradition connects ancient Celtic mines to the hands of modern royalty. For centuries, Welsh gold has been the hidden treasure behind some of the world's most iconic wedding rings, worn by British monarchs and nobility. But this isn't just any gold, it carries a mysterious signature that sets it apart, traces of platinum, a rare combination that still puzzles geologists today. The story begins in the rugged valleys of Snowdonia and Dolgellau, where Celtic miners carved tunnels deep into the earth as early as the Bronze Age. These weren't just ordinary gold mines, they were guarded secrets, their locations passed down through generations like sacred knowledge. What made Welsh gold so special? Unlike most gold deposits which form through volcanic activity, Welsh gold is believed to have originated from ancient riverbeds where flowing water concentrated the precious metal over millennia. But the real enigma lies in those platinum traces, which are virtually unheard of in other European gold sources. Scientists have proposed several theories. Some suggest the platinum was carried by glaciers during the last ice age, mixing with Welsh gold in a geological fluke. Others argue it points to a much deeper, undiscovered source in the Earth's crust. Whatever the explanation, this unique blend gave the gold a distinctive pale hue and exceptional durability qualities that made it irresistible to royalty. The tradition reached its peak in the 20th century when a single nugget from the Clogau St. David's mine was used to craft wedding rings for Queen Elizabeth, Princess Diana, and Kate Middleton. Today, with the original mines nearly exhausted, Welsh gold has become one of the rarest and most sought-after materials on Earth. Yet the question remains, how did the Celts, without modern tools or geology, pinpoint these extraordinary deposits? Local legends speak of gold diviners who could sense the metal's presence through rituals and omens, a lost art that modern prospectors can't replicate. As we marvel at these royal heirlooms, we're left wondering, did the Celts know something about the Earth's hidden chemistry that we're only beginning to uncover? Next, we'll uncover how an ancient mining innovation in China unexpectedly gave birth to the world's first paper currency. Now, let's journey from the misty valleys of Wales to the bustling heart of ancient China, where an unexpected mining innovation would forever change the course of global commerce. Deep in the iron-rich mountains of Sichuan, miners stumbled upon a revolutionary idea, one that would transform heavy metal into the world's first paper currency. Centuries before Europe adopted banknotes, China's Tang dynasty faced a growing problem. The empire's booming iron mines produced vast amounts of metal, but transporting heavy iron coins across long distances was impractical. Traders and merchants needed a lighter solution, and the answer came from an unlikely place: the mining pits themselves. Workers began using paper receipts as proof of iron deposits stored in local warehouses. These slips, known as fei kian or flying money, could be exchanged for actual metal, effectively creating the earliest form of paper money. But here's where the mystery deepens. Historians still debate how these crude mining tokens evolved into a standardized currency. Some records suggest Buddhist monasteries played a key role, acting as trusted intermediaries who verified the receipts. Others point to imperial officials who recognized the potential to streamline tax collection. What we do know is that by the time of the Song dynasty, the Chinese government took control, printing the world's first official paper money, a direct descendant of those humble mining tokens. The real marvel lies in the unintended consequences. This system required an unprecedented level of public trust in paper, something no other civilization had attempted. Yet it worked so well that Marco Polo would later describe Chinese banknotes with awe, calling them the alchemy of Kublai Khan, even more puzzling. Modern economists still study these early notes, marveling at their sophisticated anti-counterfeiting measures, from intricate designs to special inks techniques that hint at lost knowledge from the mines themselves. As we trace the journey from iron ore to folded paper, one question lingers: did those ancient miners realize they were inventing the future of money? Next, we'll decode the alchemical symbols hidden in Spain's salt mines, where Moorish engineers mapped secrets beneath the earth. Now, let's turn our attention from the paper trails of ancient China to the cryptic symbols carved deep within the salt mines of Spain. Here, the Moors left behind more than just mineral wealth. They encoded secrets of the earth itself in mysterious alchemical markings. Beneath the sun-baked plains of Andalusia, Moorish miners worked tirelessly extracting salt, a commodity as precious as gold in the medieval world. But scattered across the tunnel walls, archaeologists have uncovered strange symbol circles within circles, intersecting lines, and what appear to be flowing water patterns. At first glance, these might seem like simple tally marks or religious graffiti, but recent studies suggest something far more ingenious. These symbols may have served as a sophisticated underground map, charting the location of hidden rivers and aquifers. What makes this discovery so extraordinary is the precision involved. Some tunnels align perfectly with natural water channels over 300 feet below the surface, a feat that would challenge modern hydrologists even with satellite imaging. Researchers now believe the Moors used a combination of sound resonance and metal rods to detect water vibrations, then recorded their findings in this coded system. Even more intriguing, certain symbols match those found in Arabic alchemy manuscripts, hinting that these miners weren't just laborers. They were scientists blending geology with mystical knowledge. The real mystery lies in why such advanced techniques vanished. After the Christian reconquest of Spain, many Moorish mining practices were suppressed or forgotten. Yet in remote tunnels, these silent symbols endure, waiting to reveal more secrets. Could they hold clues to locating untapped water sources today? As we ponder this, our next journey takes us to the Pacific Northwest, where Native American miners harnessed volcanic forces to produce flames as blue as the ocean. Now, shifting our gaze to the misty forests of the Pacific Northwest, we uncover a phenomenon that seems to defy nature itself: the legendary blue flames of Oregon's ancient copper mine. Here, Native American miners didn't just extract metal. They harnessed the very fires of the earth in a spectacle that left early settlers in awe. Deep within the volcanic regions, tribes like the Klamath and Modoc discovered something extraordinary. When certain copper-rich rocks were heated, they didn't glow red or orange, they burned with an eerie blue light. Modern geologists now understand this was caused by sulfur compounds igniting, but for ancient miners it was nothing short of magic. They learned to manipulate these reactions, using the blue flames as a guide to locate high-quality copper veins hidden in the rugged terrain. The real ingenuity lay in their mining techniques. Instead of brute force, they exploited volcanic heat to fracture rocks. By setting controlled fires near sulfur deposits, they triggered chemical reactions that weaken the stone, making it easier to extract copper with simple tools. Archaeologists have found charred remnants of these fires alongside meticulously stacked ore piles, proof of a deliberate, almost scientific process. But the most baffling part: how they handled the toxic fumes. Sulfur mining is deadly without proper ventilation, yet there's no evidence of widespread harm to these ancient workers. Some researchers believe they used woven plant fibers soaked in water as primitive gas masks, while others suggest they timed their work to wind patterns. Either way, their survival hints at a deep understanding of their environment that rivals modern safety protocols. As the last embers of this forgotten technology fade into history, one question lingers: did these blue flames inspire the sacred fire rituals of Pacific Northwest tribes? The answer may lie buried in the ashes, waiting to be reignited. Next, we venture to the highlands of Ethiopia, where gold mines sit beside artifacts that some claim aren't of this world. Now, let's journey to the rugged highlands of Ethiopia, where ancient gold mines sit beside discoveries that have sparked debates for decades. Here, amid the dust and echoes of forgotten laborers, lies a mystery that blurs the line between human ingenuity and the unexplainable, the so-called Starchild mines. These mines, some dating back over 3,000 years, were once the lifeblood of powerful kingdoms like Axum. But what truly sets them apart are the bizarre artifacts unearthed nearby, tools and objects with shapes and materials that don't match any known ancient technology. Some are made of alloys so precise they rival modern metallurgy, while others bear markings that defy translation. The most controversial find, a collection of elongated skulls and skeletal fragments, dubbed the Starchild remains by researchers. Unlike typical human bones, these show unusual structural features: thicker craniums, asymmetrical eye sockets, and a composition that some claim contains trace metals not naturally found in the human body. Could these miners have encountered or even worked alongside beings not of this earth? Skeptics argue that the tools and bones have earthly explanations. The strange alloys might simply be the result of advanced, lost smelting techniques, while the skulls could stem from ritualistic head-binding practices. After all, Ethiopia has a long history of metallurgical innovation, and cultural deformation of skulls isn't unheard of in ancient societies, yet the questions persist. Why were these mines deliberately hidden in remote, nearly inaccessible locations? How did miners extract gold with such precision in complete darkness, as some tunnels show no evidence of torches or lamps? And why do local legends speak of sky beings who taught the art of metalworking? As we sift through the evidence, one thing becomes clear: whether the truth lies in advanced human civilizations or something more otherworldly. Ethiopia's gold mines guard secrets that challenge our understanding of history. Next, we'll descend into the depths of Poland's Wieliczka mine, where time itself seems preserved in salt. Now, let's step into the depths of Poland's Wieliczka salt mine, a place where time stands still. This isn't just any mine. It's a sprawling underground city carved entirely from salt, where 7 centuries of history have been perfectly preserved. Imagine walking through tunnels lined with intricate salt sculptures, chapels with chandeliers made of salt crystals, and chambers so vast they could host grand balls. But the real marvel, the tools and wooden structures left behind by miners hundreds of years ago, untouched by decay, as if frozen in time. How did these wooden supports defy nature, resisting rot for centuries? The answer lies in the mine's unique environment. The constant humidity and high salt concentration create conditions where bacteria and fungi, the usual culprits of decay, simply can't survive. Salt acts as a natural preservative, drawing moisture out of organic material and halting decomposition. It's the same principle behind curing meat or fish, but on an industrial scale. The miners unknowingly built their workspace inside what amounts to a giant natural refrigerator. But the preservation goes beyond just wood. Leather gloves, rope, even cloth remnants have been found in near-perfect condition, offering an unprecedented glimpse into medieval mining techniques. These artifacts reveal a level of craftsmanship and organization that rivals modern operations. For example, the mine's ventilation system, designed in the 13th century, still functions today, using carefully placed shafts to circulate air through miles of tunnels. Then there's the mystery of the hidden workshops. Some chambers contain fully intact tools, hammers, chisels, even wheelbarrows left exactly as they were when miners finished their shifts. It's as if they stepped away for a moment and never returned. Historians believe these spaces were sealed off during collapses or shifts in mining operations, accidentally creating time capsules. Local legends add another layer of intrigue. Some say the mine's preservation is the work of Saint Kinga, the patron saint of salt miners, whose mythical ring is said to have discovered the deposit. Others whisper that the mine itself is alive, its salt walls slowly healing and regenerating over time. While science offers explanations for the preservation, the eerie perfection of these artifacts keeps the wonder alive. As we marvel at Wieliczka's timeless secrets, we're left to ponder, what other forgotten knowledge might lie buried in the world's ancient mines? Next, we'll travel to Thailand, where mysterious stone pearls hidden in caves may hold the key to an entirely different mining enigma. Now, let's journey from the salt-preserved chambers of Poland to the lush, hidden caves of Thailand, where nature has crafted its own mysterious artifacts, the Thai cave pearls. These perfectly spherical stone formations, found deep within limestone caverns, aren't just geological oddities. They may hold a forgotten connection to ancient tin mining rituals that once thrived in the region. Unlike typical pearls formed in oysters, these stone spheres are created over centuries by mineral-rich water dripping onto grains of sand, slowly coating them in layers of calcite. But here's the twist: many of these caves are located near ancient tin mining sites, and local legends suggest the pearls were more than just natural wonders. Some researchers believe they played a role in purification rituals for tin ore, a metal crucial to Southeast Asia's early bronze production. How could smooth stones be linked to metalworking? One theory points to their use in tumbling techniques. Ancient miners may have placed crushed tin ore inside containers with the cave pearls, then rolled or shaken them to separate impurities from the metal. The pearl's hardness and smooth surface would have acted like natural abrasives, polishing the ore without introducing contaminants. This method would have been especially valuable in an era before advanced grinding tools. Even more intriguing are the cave pearls found arranged in deliberate patterns, some placed on stone altars or near mining shafts. Could these have been offerings to appease spirits believed to guard the metals? Or perhaps they served as markers for high-quality ore veins. The truth remains elusive, but the overlap between sacred caves and mining sites is too striking to ignore. What's certain is that these pearls weren't just geological accidents. They were tools, talismans, or even tokens of a lost scientific understanding. As we piece together their purpose, we uncover yet another layer of ancient ingenuity where nature and human innovation intertwined. Next, we'll set sail with the Phoenicians, whose floating smelters revolutionized mining at sea. Now, shifting our gaze from the sacred caves of Thailand to the vast Mediterranean, we uncover another marvel of ancient engineering, the Carthaginian silver ships. These floating smelters, operated by the Phoenicians, represent one of history's most ingenious solutions to a logistical nightmare: how to process precious metals far from land. Picture this: massive ships, not just carrying raw ore, but equipped with furnaces capable of smelting silver at sea. The Phoenicians, master traders and metallurgists, designed vessels with clay-lined hearths and bellows systems to maintain the extreme temperatures needed to separate silver from lead ore. This allowed them to refine their cargo while sailing, turning raw material into pure, trade-ready metal before even reaching port. But how did they manage such delicate work on the unpredictable waves? Archaeologists have found evidence of stabilizing techniques, weighted keels, and specially designed furnace platforms to minimize movement during smelting. Some ships even had dual compartments, one for smelting, another for cooling and shaping the metal into ingots. This wasn't just innovation, it was industrial precision on the high seas. The real mystery lies in their fuel source. Traditional land-based smelters used charcoal, but carrying enough for long voyages would have been impractical. Recent studies suggest they may have harvested driftwood or even used a form of compacted fuel cakes made from olive pits, a resource abundant in Phoenician territories. Why take such risks? The answer is profit and secrecy. By processing ore at sea, the Phoenicians avoided taxes imposed on raw materials in foreign ports and kept their mining locations hidden from competitors. These ships weren't just factories, they were floating fortresses of economic espionage. As we marvel at their ingenuity, one question lingers. Did these mobile furnaces inspire later maritime technologies, or did their secrets vanish beneath the waves? Next, we'll venture into the echoing depths of Bulgaria's roaring caves, where the very winds seem to whisper clues about ancient gold. Now, let's journey from the high seas to the heart of Bulgaria's mysterious mountains, where the very earth seems to breathe. Here, hidden beneath rugged peaks, lie the Thracian gold mines known as the Roaring Caves, a labyrinth of tunnels where the wind never stops howling. These ancient mines earned their name from a phenomenon that still baffles scientists today: permanent wind currents deep underground. Step inside and you'll hear it, a constant, eerie roar, as if the caves themselves are alive. The Thracians, master miners who thrived over 2,000 years ago, didn't just tolerate these winds, they harnessed them. How archaeologists believe the caves act like natural wind tunnels, with narrow passages funneling air from hidden geothermal vents. Some shafts even show deliberate carvings, grooves and channels that appear to direct airflow toward workspaces, possibly to ventilate toxic fumes from smelting or to keep torches burning in oxygen-starved depths. But the real puzzle is the source of these winds. Modern surveys reveal that some tunnels connect to deep fissures in the earth where geothermal heat creates convection currents. Could the Thracians have discovered these vents and intentionally expanded them? Evidence suggests they built their mines along these natural airways, using the Earth's own energy to power their operations. One daring theory proposes they even used the winds for ore processing. Imagine this: gold dust, lighter than rock, being separated by gusts channeled through sluices, a primitive but effective form of wind-powered refining. While no direct proof exists, the precision of certain tunnel angles hints at more than just ventilation. Why risk mining in such unstable conditions? The answer lies in the gold itself, some of the purest ever found, with veins so rich they gleam like sunlight in stone. For the Thracians, these roaring winds weren't a nuisance, they were the voice of the mountain guiding them to its treasures. As we listen to the cave's endless song, one question remains: did other ancient cultures know of this technique, or was it a secret lost with the Thracians? Next, we'll travel to the frozen north, where indigenous miners followed visions to uncover copper woven into the land itself. Leaving behind the roaring winds of Bulgaria, we now venture into the vast wilderness of Canada, where ancient miners didn't just follow veins of copper, they followed visions. Here, indigenous peoples discovered rich deposits of the metal not through tools or maps, but through what they called spirit stones, sacred guides believed to speak through dreams and shamanic rituals. These spirit stones weren't just symbols, they were part of a profound connection between the land and its people. Shamans would enter deep trances, receiving visions that led them to copper deposits hidden beneath forests and lakes. What's astonishing is how often these spiritual markers aligned with geological reality. Modern surveys reveal that many of these sacred sites sit directly atop massive copper veins, some stretching for miles underground. But the mystery deepens when we examine their placement. Many of these mining sites fall along what we now call ley lines, invisible energy pathways that crisscross the earth. Indigenous miners seem to know these alignments intuitively, positioning their digs where the earth's energy was strongest. Were they tapping into some lost science of geomancy, or was their spiritual practice a way of interpreting subtle natural cues like magnetic anomalies or plant growth patterns? The copper itself adds another layer of intrigue. Unlike typical mined metal, these deposits often appeared in pure, malleable nuggets requiring no smelting. Some legends say the copper called out to the miners, appearing in dreams as glowing stones or voices on the wind. Even more puzzling, certain sites show evidence of mining activity dating back over 5,000 years, yet the tools used remain undiscovered. Did they use perishable materials, or was their method so refined that it left no trace? One theory suggests the spirit stones were more than guides. They were part of a ritual purification process. Copper, considered a living entity, was believed to carry spiritual power. By mining it with ceremonies and offerings, they may have been awakening the metal's energy, a practice that echoes in the way some deposits are found arranged in ceremonial circles. As we piece together these clues, we're left wondering, did these miners possess a forgotten understanding of earth energies, or was their success a blend of keen observation and spiritual insight? Next, we'll journey to the deserts of Yemen, where ancient texts speak of mountains that defied gravity and the miners who harnessed their secrets. Now, shifting our gaze to the vast deserts of Yemen, we uncover one of the most baffling legends of ancient mining, the so-called floating mountains. Ancient texts and oral traditions speak of massive stone blocks and mining equipment that appeared to levitate, carried effortlessly across the desert by unseen forces. These accounts, dismissed as myths for centuries, are now being re-examined with fresh eyes. Could these stories hint at an early form of hot air balloon technology lost to time? The descriptions are eerily specific. Miners reportedly used enormous flying baskets woven from palm fibers, filled with heated air to lift heavy loads. Some texts even mention a mysterious fire pot suspended beneath these baskets, possibly an early burner system. What's striking is how closely these details mirror the principles of modern hot air balloons. But here's the catch: this would predate the documented invention of balloon flight by thousands of years. Archaeologists have scoured the region for physical evidence, and recent discoveries add fuel to the debate. Fragments of charred palm fibers and unusual clay vessels with soot marks have been found near ancient mining sites. These artifacts align with descriptions of the fire pots, suggesting the legends might hold a kernel of truth. Even more intriguing, some of these sites are located in areas with natural gas vents, which could have provided a steady, controllable heat source for lifting heavy loads. Critics argue that without surviving examples of the baskets or clear depictions in art, the theory remains speculative, but proponents point to the logistical challenges of transporting massive stone blocks across Yemen's harsh terrain. Traditional methods would have required thousands of workers and decades of labor, yet some mining sites show no evidence of such infrastructure. If not levitation, how did they achieve it? The debate takes another twist when we consider the cultural context. Yemeni folklore is rich with stories of jinn, supernatural beings said to manipulate the physical world. Could these tales be metaphorical explanations for advanced technology, or were ancient miners tapping into natural phenomena like thermal updrafts that appeared magical to observers? As we weigh the evidence, one thing is clear: the floating mountains challenge our understanding of ancient innovation. Whether through forgotten technology or ingenious use of nature's forces, these miners may have achieved what seems impossible. Next, we'll delve into the frozen landscapes of Russia, where Stone Age hunters pursued a treasure hidden in the bones of giants. Now, let's journey from the sun-scorched deserts of Yemen to the frozen expanses of Russia, where Stone Age miners pursued a treasure unlike any other: mammoth ivory. These ancient hunters didn't just stumble upon tusks by chance. They developed sophisticated methods to track and harvest them, turning Ice Age giants into a valuable resource. The key to their success lay in understanding the land. As glaciers retreated, they left behind vast plains littered with mammoth remains. Miners would follow natural markers, riverbanks, erosion patterns, and even the behavior of other animals to locate concentrations of tusks. Some sites show evidence of systematic digging, with tools like bone picks and antler shovels used to extract ivory from the frozen ground. But here's where it gets fascinating: these miners didn't just collect tusks on the surface. They ventured into underground networks, using natural caves and tunnels as storage vaults. Recent discoveries in Siberia have uncovered caches of mammoth ivory hidden deep in these Ice Age labyrinths. The tusks were often arranged carefully, sometimes stacked like firewood or even carved with markings that may have indicated ownership or trade value. What's remarkable is how these storage systems were designed to preserve the ivory. The permafrost acted as a natural freezer, preventing the tusks from cracking or deteriorating over time. But how did they navigate these underground networks without modern tools? Researchers believe they used simple yet effective methods like placing animal fat lamps at regular intervals to mark paths or carving symbols into the walls. Some tunnels even show signs of deliberate expansion, suggesting these miners were modifying the caves to suit their needs. The scale of these operations challenges our assumptions about Stone Age societies. This wasn't just opportunistic gathering, it was organized large-scale mining, and the ivory wasn't just for local use. Trade networks stretched across continents, with mammoth tusks reaching as far as Europe and Asia. Yet mysteries remain. How did they predict where to find the richest deposits? Were there specialized roles within these mining communities? And what happened to the knowledge of these techniques when the mammoths vanished? As we piece together the clues, one thing is certain. These ancient miners were far more advanced than we've given them credit for. Next, we'll explore the living copper veins of Chile, where the Incas believed the earth itself was alive. Now, let's shift our focus from the frozen tundras of Russia to the rugged mountains of Chile, where the Incas held a belief that would baffle modern scientists. They thought copper veins were alive. To them, these metallic seams weren't just inert deposits but living entities that grew and regenerated like plants. At first glance, this might sound like mere mythology, but recent discoveries suggest the Incas might have been onto something extraordinary. Deep in the Atacama Desert, archaeologists have uncovered ancient mining sites where Incan tools were carefully placed near copper veins, almost as if they were harvesting the metal rather than extracting it. Ritual offerings of corn and coca leaves found at these sites hint that miners saw the process as a sacred exchange with the earth. But what's truly mind-blowing is that modern science has now revealed a startling truth: copper veins can, in a way, grow. Researchers have identified specific bacteria that thrive in Chile's copper-rich regions, slowly transforming raw minerals into purer, more accessible copper over time. These microorganisms, like Acidotheobacillus ferruxidans, essentially eat low-grade copper ore and excrete soluble copper compounds, creating concentrated deposits. The Incas, though they didn't understand the microbiology, likely noticed that certain veins seemed to replenish or change over generations. Even more intriguing, some of their mining methods align eerily well with how these bacteria operate. Instead of brute force digging, they used water to leach copper from rocks, a technique that mirrors the bacterial process. Were they mimicking nature without realizing it? And how did they pinpoint the most active, living veins without microscopes or chemical tests? The mystery deepens when we examine their legends. Incan oral traditions speak of copper as a gift from Pachamama, or Mother Earth, with some stories describing veins that bled when struck. Modern geologists have observed that bacterial activity can cause copper deposits to oxidize, creating vivid green and blue streaks that might have looked like otherworldly sap or blood to ancient eyes. Today, scientists are studying these natural processes to develop more sustainable mining techniques, proving once again that ancient knowledge often holds hidden wisdom. As we marvel at the Incas' intuitive understanding of their environment, we're left wondering how many other myths might be uncannily accurate observations of nature's secrets. Next, we'll venture into the fiery craters of Indonesia, where daring miners collected gold from the mouths of active volcanoes. Now, let's journey from the living copper veins of Chile to the smoldering heart of Indonesia, where ancient miners faced a challenge that would make even the bravest among us hesitate: collecting gold from the mouths of active volcanoes. Imagine standing at the edge of a crater, heat scorching your skin as plumes of toxic gas swirl around you. Yet, for the Javanese miners of centuries past, this was just another day at work. These daring prospectors developed techniques to harvest gold and other precious metals from volcanic vents, where extreme heat and deadly fumes made extraction nearly impossible by conventional means. What's even more astonishing is the tool they relied on: bamboo. Yes, the same lightweight plant used for everything from construction to cooking became their secret weapon against molten rock. Archaeologists have uncovered bamboo rods near ancient mining sites, some still bearing traces of gold particles. At first glance, it seems impossible. How could bamboo withstand temperatures that would melt most metals? The answer lies in the Javanese miners' ingenious understanding of natural insulation. They selected specific bamboo species with thick, fibrous walls that, when soaked in water, created a protective barrier against heat. By inserting these waterlogged rods into cracks near volcanic vents, they could probe for gold-rich deposits without the tools instantly burning up. But the real genius was in their timing. These miners didn't work during eruptions or peak activity. Instead, they monitored volcanic cycles, venturing into the craters during brief periods of relative calm. Oral traditions speak of singing stones, a phenomenon where certain rocks emitted faint sounds as they cooled, signaling safer conditions for extraction. Modern volcanologists suspect these sounds were caused by contracting minerals, a detail the Javanese miners learned to interpret with uncanny precision. Perhaps the most baffling aspect is how they processed the gold once extracted. Unlike other cultures that relied on heavy crushing or smelting, the Javanese used a method involving volcanic clay and natural acids found in the region. By mixing crushed ore with these materials, they could separate gold from other minerals without the need for extreme heat. Some researchers believe this technique may have inspired later alchemical practices in the region. Today, remnants of these ancient mines can still be found on the slopes of Java's volcanoes, a testament to human ingenuity in the face of nature's fury. As we piece together their methods, one question lingers: how did they first discover that bamboo, of all things, could defy volcanic heat? Was it trial and error, or did they possess knowledge of material science that's only now being rediscovered? Next, we'll travel to the misty highlands of Scotland, where Celtic folklore and tin mining intertwine in ways that blur the line between myth and reality. Now, let's leave the fiery volcanoes of Java behind and step into the misty, mystical highlands of Scotland, where the line between legend and reality blurs in the most fascinating ways. Here, ancient tin mines weren't just sources of valuable metal. They were places wrapped in Celtic folklore, guarded by stories of fairies and supernatural warnings. The Scottish miners of old didn't just dig for tin. They navigated a world where the earth itself seemed alive with whispers and warnings. Local legends spoke of fairy hills, mounds said to be gateways to the otherworld, where disturbing the ground could bring terrible misfortune. But here's the twist: many of these so-called fairy hills were actually ancient mining sites, rich with tin deposits. Were these stories merely superstition, or was there something more practical behind them? Archaeologists have found that areas marked by fairy folklore often coincide with some of the oldest and most productive tin mines in Scotland. The warnings, tales of curses, illness, or vanishing miners may have served a dual purpose. On one hand, they preserved the sites from reckless exploitation. On the other, they might have hidden practical knowledge. For example, some fairy-cursed shafts were later discovered to be dangerously unstable or filled with toxic gases like carbon monoxide. Could these stories have been a way to pass down safety warnings through generations without written records? Even more intriguing is how these myths shaped mining practices. Miners would leave small offerings, coins, milk, or even bits of metal at the entrance of shafts, a ritual that may have had roots in appeasing spirits. But modern researchers suggest another possibility. These offerings could have been markers or even a primitive form of claiming a mine to prevent disputes. The overlap of folklore and function is uncanny. What's truly remarkable is how these stories preserved mining sites long after they were abandoned. While other ancient mines were plundered or destroyed over time, many fairy hills remained untouched out of fear or respect. This accidental conservation means some of the best preserved ancient mining shafts in Scotland are the ones wrapped in supernatural tales. So, were the fairies real? Probably not, but the wisdom hidden in these stories might have been very real indeed, whether as safety warnings, territorial markers, or simply a way to make sense of the unknown. Celtic folklore and tin mining were deeply intertwined. And that leaves us with one last question: how many other ancient mines around the world are hidden beneath similar legends, waiting to be uncovered? Next, we venture into the depths of the Amazon, where the legend of El Dorado might finally reveal its surprising truth. Now, let's journey from the misty fairy hills of Scotland to the dense, uncharted jungles of the Amazon, where the myth of El Dorado, the legendary city of gold, might finally reveal its surprising truth. For centuries, explorers risked everything in search of this fabled paradise. But what if the real treasure wasn't a glittering metropolis at all, but something far more extraordinary? Recent discoveries suggest that the El Dorado legend may have originated from something even rarer than gold platinum. Indigenous tribes in the Amazon basin were mining and working platinum alloys long before European contact, a feat that defies conventional history. Unlike gold, which is relatively soft and easy to shape, platinum requires temperatures exceeding 1,700 degrees Celsius to melt, something supposedly impossible without modern technology. Yet, artifacts found in the region prove otherwise. Archaeologists have uncovered tiny beads and figurines made from a platinum-gold alloy, a combination that doesn't occur naturally. This means ancient Amazonian metallurgists weren't just collecting platinum, they were deliberately refining and mixing it with other metals, creating alloys with unique properties. How they achieved such high temperatures remains a mystery, but one theory points to their use of blowpipes and specially designed furnaces that could concentrate heat in ways we're only beginning to understand. Even more fascinating is how these discoveries reshape the El Dorado myth. Spanish conquistadors wrote of a ritual where a tribal chief would cover himself in gold dust and dive into a sacred lake, offering treasures to the water. But new evidence suggests the gold might have actually been platinum-rich alloys, which could explain why so many expeditions failed to find the legendary hoards. They were looking for the wrong metal. The real breakthrough came when researchers analyzed soil samples near ancient settlements and found traces of platinum in riverbeds, hinting at large-scale mining operations. Unlike gold panning, platinum extraction would have required advanced knowledge of sedimentation and density, techniques these cultures somehow mastered. Could the stories of a golden city have been a misinterpretation of these sophisticated mining practices? What's clear is that the Amazon's indigenous peoples were far more technologically advanced than we ever imagined. Their ability to work platinum, a metal Europeans didn't even recognize until the 18th century, challenges everything we thought we knew about ancient metallurgy. So, was El Dorado real? Not as a city of gold, perhaps, but as a testament to lost mining brilliance. It might be more real than we ever dared to dream. And with that, we've reached the end of our journey through 50 unsolved secrets of ancient mining techniques. Each one a reminder that our ancestors were far more ingenious than history often gives them credit for. As we bring this incredible journey to a close, let's take a moment to reflect on what these 50 unsolved mining secrets reveal about our ancestors. From the Maya's mercury mines to the Amazon's platinum alloys, each mystery paints a picture of ancient civilizations that were not just skilled craftsmen but visionary engineers and scientists. They achieved feats that still leave modern experts scratching their heads, whether it was melting platinum without industrial furnaces, creating self-healing concrete, or mapping underground labyrinths with uncanny precision. The question lingers: did these ancient miners possess knowledge that has since been lost to time? Were they tapping into techniques or technologies we're only now beginning to uncover? The evidence suggests they understood their world in ways we're still struggling to comprehend. And that's what makes these mysteries so thrilling. They remind us that history isn't just about the past. It's a puzzle waiting to be solved with clues that could reshape our future. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Which of these 50 ancient mining secrets fascinated you the most? Was it the Inca's massive golden chains, the Roman concrete that repairs itself, or something else entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you know of any other lost techniques or unexplained mining marvels, share them with us. Who knows, your suggestion might just become the focus of our next deep dive into the secrets of the ancient world. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more explorations into history's greatest mysteries, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an adventure. Thanks for joining us on this journey through time where every discovery raises new questions and the past never stops surprising us. Until next time, keep digging for the truth.